Gang,
Hey,
gang.
hey, what's up, man?
What's up? How's it going, dude?
Not bad, not bad. Ready to
Not
get this
bad.
going.
Ready to get it going, dude.
Yeah,
So we already got Sandy in the comments saying, hey, hey.
yeah.
Um,
Hey, well, we'll
so go ahead.
we'll go. No, I was gonna say we'll go ahead and apologize for being late.
It's my fault.
Yeah,
It's totally my fault. So
it's
I
it's
had
com-
to, I was just saying, I had to go and get gas and I was trying to communicate Josh, hey, I might be behind. But we needed to take care of a few things beforehand. So we needed to push things back. But we're live, we're here, and we're ready to rock and roll.
yeah. And if that intro looked a little bit grainy, we're working on that. Not sure what's going on, but nonetheless, welcome to Unopened Files. It's basically a podcast with myself and Trey, where we're going to be diving into the stories that really nobody wants to talk about. You know, a lot of these things that we're going to talk about, I would say PG-13. I would advise
I
extreme
would say that.
caution. Yeah, definitely. I would advise extreme caution with some of them. Today, we're going to be talking about the Devil's Toy Box.
Ooh.
Mhm.
What is that? What does that entail, Josh? I mean, maybe we should save that
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, how about you go ahead and introduce yourself and say why you're interested in these topics?
yeah. So for those who don't know me or for tuning in for the first time, my name is Trey Stoneburner, but I go by DJ Sound Effects, as you can see on screen. Um, and I I love the paranormal. I love the spooky. I love the stuff. I love the jump scares. I love the things that go bump in the night. Do I dabble in them? No, I do not. I leave stuff where they belong, away from me. But I love watching. I mean, I don't know. I used to love watching Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, and just all the encounters that they had, real or fake. Um, Mainly the real ones, but I'm definitely into the macabre. And Josh hit me up and he wanted to start a show that featured the crazy things that are unsolved and the spooks. And I was like, I'm down, man. Let's get it popping. So I'm all about it. And I actually am a DJ. I'm a local DJ in Louisville, Kentucky. I love beatboxing. And yeah, that's why I'm here. So, boom. What about you,
Well,
Josh? What
well, I'm not.
about? Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I'm nowhere near as cool as you. Nowhere
Whatever,
near.
man.
I'm a huge nerd. That's. I mean, what more can I say? I sit at home and work on computers all day. Um, this stuff has drawn to me for about the last 6, 7 years. No clue. No clue at all. Uh, Literally watched my first like murder type documentary, and that just it clicked. I was drawn. Couldn't get off of them. Got into podcasts, got into all sorts of things about these crazy people, and then it turned
Sure.
into crazy stories, conspiracies, um, paranormal. Now, me, I would love to throw myself into those things and see if
Uh.
they're real
Uh.
or
Uh.
not.
Uh. Uh.
That's me.
No.
I would love it. Today's topic. Oh, I'd get one, and no problem.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
Nope. I will be there to pull you out. But I will not be partaking. So they're blowing up our comment section right now, and so Sandy's saying, please read your update because that was a hilarious typo.
Yeah,
Um,
we are rubbing a little bit late.
And so, yes. So Jaime did us the pleasure in updating. And so he said we are rubbing a little bit behind instead of running. And then, yeah, I want to talk about it. Josh and DJ Sound Effects. Yeah. And then Jaime saying that was me. Um, but yeah, so I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, so I'm excited for today. This is a trial run. This is our first episode. We're going to be getting into a lot of crazy things going on, um, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Um, Josh, do you have anything else you want to kind of intro about the show, or where you want to go with it, or anything like that?
No, not really. And again, as I said, we're gonna get into some serious topics. If you're, I say these topics, some of them are not for the faint of heart, and
Yes.
and you will not disappoint us, hurt our feelings. I promise. Today's episode is a little mild. Okay, it's not anywhere near what we're going to talk about next week, but it's definitely
Yeah.
a lot of negative energy associated with it, if that makes any sense. Um, but other than that, dude, you ready to make these lights go red?
I am. I want to get into these comments and then we can. So Alexandra just popped in. She says, Bahaha Golden. Joe is hopping in. He says, Bro, horror's the best. What's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you. But yes, I think I'm ready. Josh, are you ready?
Go ahead.
Hey, Google, lights to red.
Let's go.
All right.
So the first little bit we're going to talk about the ritual itself. Okay. So just for a little background info before we hop right in, Devil's Toy Box is a contraption. Basically, it's something that is built and it's a ritual that is done. So basically that's the info I'm going to run with, and then we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it.
Let's get it.
All right. So, to begin this ritual, there must be at least one witness and one assistant. You must construct a box with the interior made entirely of mirrors. In order to construct the Devil's Toy Box, you will need 6 planes of mirror sheets that are strong and completely flat. The vertical portion of the mirror should be taller than the witness, but not too tall if the witness's hands are held up. There should be a total of 6 mirrors to cover all angles and sides of the box, with the opening of the box being accessed from the top. Now, this isn't a deal breaker, but it is highly recommended. The goal of the box is to achieve 100% reflectivity. You also need one light source that emits a bright white or yellow light that glows in all directions. You should not require an electrical outlet in order to perform this function. This light is to help illuminate any potential visitors that may decide to appear to the witness. The witness and the assistant should each have their own timed alarms and set them for 10 minutes apiece and nothing further. It is rumored that anything over 10 minutes is extremely dangerous, and it is believed that the devil himself will show up and begin to flay you alive inside the box. There should be one small object that holds no religious values or weapons of any sort. Religious items may prevent some visitors from showing, and weapons can become very unsafe and or dangerous. There is one instance of a woman attempting the ritual who took in a small knife and was influenced to slice her face severely. And after the 10-minute timer had went, that woman was let out and found bleeding profusely and laughing hysterically. As she was driven to the emergency room, she insisted to the EMTs, "You'll meet it too. It just wants to make us beautiful." Over and over. The object that is decided upon should be small and fit inside the witness's palm. The object is rumored to disappear once inside the box, to prove that your reality has been altered, and will reappear once the box's connection is broken. It is suggested to perform the ritual at night, preferably during a full moon. Once the box has been constructed and the items have been obtained, the ritual can now begin. The witness will begin by placing themselves within the box with the light source turned off and the item of choice in their hand. The witness and assistant will need to agree upon a signal to be released from the box if any circumstances were to arise and early departure is needed. The witness will then ready the assistant and cue to have the lid of the box sealed as the two synchronize their stopwatches for 10 minutes. The The witness then turns on their light source and stares directly into the mirror and awaits contact. If the witness has not emerged from the box once the 10-minute timer has completed, immediately remove the witness from the top of the box. The witness may plead or beg to be left inside the box. It may even persuade you to believe nothing has happened. Do not listen. Do not trust anything the witness may say to you or to convince you otherwise. Be extremely cautious if the witness says they did not witness or experience anything inside the box or suggest to you, now you try. Be warned, this ritual is extremely dangerous and is opening yourself up to a world that you may not be able to explain. And you could possibly bring something back with you attached and too far past reversal. Now, I don't know about you, but that's nuts. That's nuts.
Yes. So I was reading about the same ritual recently. This stuff is bonkers, folks. Like, I don't understand anyone in their right mind actually going through with this, because I mean, no, Josh, you're not gonna do this.
I will get in there.
You don't understand. Did you actually read what you just read?
I'm not scared. Scared.
That's great. You I don't want to call you stupid on air, but come on, man. Like,
put me in, coach. Put me in.
No. Our comment section is blowing up. Sandy's asking, so would you really do this, Josh?
I would. I 100%. I would.
Why? Can I ask why?
Okay, so I'm one of those skeptics, man. I want something to happen to me. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm not scared to get killed. I'm not scared to get.
What? Why?
No, I'm not.
For
okay?
what reason?
Hey, I wouldn't know if it's real.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell anybody, I guess, since you're dead.
True.
So I guess it just stays the same.
Yeah, if you come in my flayed, you know it's real.
You said you don't have to be scared to get killed. Killed. And Alexander's saying it's a no from me, dog. Because I'm saying the same thing. It's a no from me, dog.
I will be sacrificed.
So the crazy thing is you can actually make this contraption. You can actually make the Devil's Toy Box, and it's based off of an urban legend in northern Louisiana. And the crazy story is they've got quite a few stories backing it up, but there's no proof. But what Josh is talking about is an actual contraption that you can make. So I think he described the ritual for you. The entire room is covered in mirrors. There can't be any open space. You go in and the walls, the floors, and the ceilings are all covered in mirrors. And so basically these mirrors are a portal to who knows where. Basically hell. But, you know, who knows where, right? So Dr. Pino said you can't come over, Trey. I'm not doing this. Josh is apparently doing this. So, and it's obviously, okay, there we go. That Josh is doing this.
It's no different if you walked into, one of the mirror fun houses, but just didn't have a way out.
My wife said to stay away from people like Josh, Trey. See, I don't. He's a good friend. The thing is, I need to be here to tempt him to not do these things.
No amount of tempting could. So there are pictures. I may had a question. So there are pictures, but none that really show you just how trippy this is. What I can refer you to is YouTube. I actually watched a guy do the experiment. Took the camera in with him. Probably nothing happened because he didn't do the ritual the right way. But you can actually see just how many different reflections of yourself it makes, and it's pretty nuts,
dude. That's trippy, man. I mean,
it is.
I've been in like a playhouse, like a mirror room, whatever.
Yeah.
and I've gotten through them, and it's crazy frustrating trying to get one through a room of mirrors. But like this is like an all encompassing thing. It's not like a you can see which way to kind of, you know what I'm saying, you kind of make your way
Yeah.
out. This is a box that you're in. There's no escape because you're pretty much locked in. I mean, I guess if you needed, well, because they said that from the top you need to be removed, right?
Yeah, it says that you're supposed to do it through the top, and I guess it's harder for things to follow from the top, is from what I understand.
I guess
I mean,
that's
but I've heard of people who have went in through a door
right,
type thing,
right.
and it worked just as fine. So Jaime said, "Where's mine?" Okay, so this closet right here, as soon as you open it, it just turns into a straight mirror
Stop,
room.
whatever. um, Alexander says, "What in the claustrophobia?" Yeah, and the thing is, I was never a claustrophobic person growing up, but I found out that I have minor claustrophobia, and what I mean by that is like if I'm in a position where I'm stuck, right? It's more of a stuck than like surrounded, right? If I'm like if it's hard to get through or like so like in action movies if a spy goes underwater and has to crawl through an underwater crevice in order to get somewhere, dude, I'm freaking out because they always get stuck, but they manage to get through somehow. Dude, it's so a room full of mirrors, like it wouldn't do it for me, but this whole thing, I'm not even involved. I would not get involved with this ritual, but
You just got to make
um
the box bigger.
no, see, I'm not. It's not. It's a no for me. Um, so it's not entirely clear if the Devil's Toy Box is all urban legend, creepypasta, hints at the truth, um, or anything of the sort. So, but for the purposes of this, I'm going to go through the middle option that there is something about this story, this type of place that gets at it, at the truth. Uh, so northern Louisiana, right? It's in fact it's a creation that was inspired by the Clive Barker Hellraiser movies. Although some debate remains about its creation and location, the most accepted explanation is that it was an attraction set up in an annual Halloween attraction, Farmer Graves' Haunted Orchard. And this is where the legend starts. This is how it goes. Unlike the movies, however, this toy box is not something you can fit in your hand or even a room. The Devil's Toy Box is described as a shack. From the outside, it is unappealing and average, but the interior of the Devil's Toy Box is what gives the strange room its lasting reputation. And according to several sources, the inside of the shack consists of, like we said, floor to ceiling mirrors, including the walls. And no one can last more than 5 minutes in this room. And like Josh was saying earlier, 10 is the max period. You don't want to be in there for more than 10 minutes. Um,
I'll sit in there
because
for 20. No,
no,
no biggie.
I hope you're there. You know, when it's all said and done, I hope you're left. Like I hope there's some of Josh left.
Imagine you just open it and I'm gone.
I was like, well,
Well, he got flayed.
so so if you stood inside this mirror room for long enough, supposedly the devil comes and takes your soul or flays you alive, something crazy in that nature. But in most versions of the story, that's what happens: is the devil comes and flays you alive. Um, I say this because apparently about 2 weeks ago, um, there was an email from an 18-year-old girl located in northern Louisiana who we'll call Erin for the sake of the story. And we'll leave her location where she is anonymous. But the rumor, there was a mill that was spinning. Local law enforcement quickly stepped in and closed down the attraction of what is it?
Shack.
The shack,
Yeah.
Farmer Graves haunted attraction.
Mhm.
Um, but even after it was shut down, several teenagers attempted to visit and find this location. And it was apparently at the end of a long, narrow road, like a barely a 2-lane road. It just gets creepy, man. I don't know if you wanted to read any of this, Josh, but like this is ridiculous.
Well, honestly, I think we should just get into our story,
Let's do it.
and I think that'll kind of give people a little bit understanding of what exactly this orchard was. So again, this shack was open, I think, for a total of 4 days. before it got
Okay.
shut down because of how
Yeah.
many different things was happening.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we're gonna get into it. As Trey said, we're gonna talk about someone named Erin. That's what we're calling her. Supposedly she's from the northern Louisiana area. Okay, so we're just gonna pick up right in this story. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so that's how Erin heard it described, anyways. She had never been inside the toy box herself. Farmer Graves closed less than a week after opening. Result of the numerous peoples who had been hospitalized after going inside the Devil's Toy Box attraction. Erin did get a chance to try the box out for herself before the closure, but she had heard countless stories about it from her classmates at school. Apparently, no one could last longer than 5 minutes inside this room. There was even a large timer that was set up beside the building that showed the current occupant's length of stay under a second clock displaying the longest recorded time up to that point, which maxed out at a little over 4 minutes before the attraction finally closed. The man who managed to last that long was Roger Heltz. 52, a father of three, he had been reduced to a wide eyed mute. To this day, he has still not said a word. One woman suffered a heart attack after just 90 seconds inside the box. A 17-year-old boy had to be dragged out kicking and screaming. The boy was from a nearby parish and hadn't gone to Erin's school, though her friend Celeste claimed her parents were friends with the boy's mom. They went to his funeral when he killed himself 2 weeks later.
Mm.
Whatever the truth of the matter, town officials were quick to act in getting Farmer Graves shut down. Of course, that didn't stop people from talking about the now infamous attraction, which they began to do almost immediately. For the next month or so, it seemed like the toy box was the only thing on anyone's mind. It had become the stuff of legend, and of course, it didn't take long for the local kids to start venturing out to the orchard at night to see the box for themselves.
So, and just to continue on, well, yeah, I tell you what, let's stop and talk about that a little bit. So, we've got numerous accounts of, well, alleged accounts
Yeah.
of crazy buck wild things going on. We have a 52-year-old man going mute when leaving this attraction. We have one of the kids, I think he was 17 years old. He had to be
Yeah.
dragged out, kicking and screaming, and saying all kinds of gibberish, then to commit suicide 2 weeks later. Very sad to hear. Very, very devastating. Um, and I think there's even some more that go on, but just these two alone would be enough to scare anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, you won't catch me going in there. Um, especially if I was there and I witnessed that happening. I'm like, y'all can have that experience. I'm staying out here. I don't know. I mean, Josh, apparently you would go in. But apparently his record is 4 minutes and 52 seconds. What is it?
It was a little over 4 minutes, I think.
Okay. How long do you think you would last?
I'm going in there for a half hour at least.
You're going in for 30 minutes.
Yeah, forget 10.
So with the ritual, it says that you need to have mental fortitude. Do you have that?
We're
Okay.
there, baby. Let's go. Put me in.
So, but it also says you need a partner. Who's that going to be?
You.
Yeah.
It's
I'm banging.
I'm banging on the door if I need you.
It's not going to be me. Let's continue reading. Actually, matter of fact, would you guys do this? Would you let's hear from the comments. Would you guys do this? Is this too buck wild? I'm not, but
I think I'm alone on this one.
You might be alone. Sandy says, I will not be a witness to your crazy. That Jaime's saying that many of me is crazy. Oh, okay. A friend of mine once walked into a mirror. It didn't break, but he hurt his head. Do you think he was body snatched?
There we go. There, we got one on the team.
Okay.
All right, I'll just make Joe my assistant.
Oh,
we'll
my
take
Lord.
We'll take turns. We'll take turns.
Yeah, Joe's saying I would do it. Alexandra saying hard pass. Sandy said if he had mental fortitude, he wouldn't be going up in there.
Oh.
All right, cool. So I tell you what, let's read some more of these stories. And let's continue the story. So it says Farmer Graves' haunted orchard was owned by a middle-aged couple named Will and Darlene Sawyer. When the town council ordered the Sawyers to shut the place down, they were so pissed about the ruling, they left most of the attraction still standing, including the Devil's Toy Box. The actual orchard was on a plot of land located at the rear of the Sawyers' property and was only accessible by a narrow 2-lane dirt road. One night, several seniors at Aaron's school snuck out of the Sawyers' property on a dare and claimed that they found the toy box entrance padlocked. But when Will Sawyer showed up out of nowhere and asked them if they wanted to go inside, he showed up out of nowhere and asked them if they wanted to go inside. Will's sudden arrival had startled the young men, but once they realized that he wasn't mad at them for trespassing and in fact seemed genuinely happy to see them, the guys decided to take him up on his offer to have a go inside the box. Of course, they chickened out as soon as Will unlocked the door, and it seemed to swing open on its own, like a hungry mouth at the sight of food. That's how the rumors about midnight screenings of the Devil's Toy Box began to circulate. Most of the people who ventured out there afterwards claimed they encountered Will Sawyer after waiting beside the toy box for an unspecified length of time. This seems kind of crazy and unbelievable, but we're going to keep going on. A few even said that they went inside the box, but these claims were always dismissed as bullcrap. No one came out of that box that was coherent enough to talk about it. Last week, Aaron's boyfriend, Troy, went out there with some of his idiot friends, and Aaron hadn't seen him since. His parents reported him missing, and Aaron even told the cops about the rumors surrounding the toy box, but they barely seemed to be listening. Now, Aaron was going crazy worrying about Troy, and of course, she was hoping that I'm trying to, I guess this is from the story. She's hoping I would be intrigued. This is the original letter. So the person reading this, she was hoping I would be intrigued enough by her story to come with her to investigate Farmer Graves because she was too scared to do so by herself.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would say red flag number one, especially in Louisiana, somebody not mad about trespassing. Like, okay, that's red flag number one.
Pump the brakes.
Now, of course, supposedly this guy was he enjoyed, so minus the Devil's Toy Box, he enjoyed his actual like theme park. He actually enjoyed running it. He actually enjoyed doing it.
I would too.
So he may have just been genuinely happy to actually see some people finally there after being shut down like that, or he had other ulterior motive, and one thing leads to another. From the thing I read, like this isn't the first group of people that he offered this to. It was like anybody. He would just show up out of nowhere with a lantern and be like, hey, want to go inside? Now, if it was me, yes, please.
So you're saying, just really quick side. So you're saying that if you somehow ended up there in the middle of the night and he randomly showed up and said, do you want to go inside? You would.
Yes.
So let's break this down for a little bit. So you walk in, you're closed. There is a room full of mirrors, and I guess did it say there was illumination at all? Is there candles or something inside?
No, you have to take that in with you.
Oh, okay. So that's gone, or whatever. You got a little bit of light. Whatever you see makes you go insane. So what do you do at that point, Josh? Like, because
I'm walking right in. You haven't said anything to deter me. It said that the door opened like it was hungry. Well, I'm a big guy. I'm a good snack.
Oh my God, what in the world?
I will walk right in and feed myself.
What freaking heck, Josh? I don't know if this is just for the show that we're having right now, or you're actually saying.
I'm 100% serious. Okay, you want to know
Okay,
crazy story? Sometimes, okay,
because
where I live
Sandy's with
now,
me. She says she ain't doing it.
I will go downstairs if I hear a noise or something. I will go downstairs and I will do a full blown Zach Bacon Ghost Hunter
Sweep of the
adventure.
house.
I will
Oh,
not sweep. I will do a
oh,
EVP
you.
live EVP. Is there somebody here? I'm taking my phone. I'm listening. I'm serious. I'm not scared. So, now that they hear me saying these things, something might happen tonight. But
Well, we might have to pray over the show, and that's fine.
okay.
And it's okay. But anyway, so I mean, I don't know, man. I don't see why anyone in the right mind would do this. It doesn't make sense.
What are you trying to say?
There's only negative things that are coming from this, Josh.
Not necessarily, because it is rumored that you can see, past loved ones. Some people go in seeking those and end up not finding them.
What are they? Well, I mean, what else would they find?
Anything, down under, I would say.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, most of the time, I'd say good, evil one. Nothing that they're looking for.
Okay.
I'd say, yeah.
So this is worth it to you?
Why not?
I mean, I've got all the facts in front of me. I mean,
I'm going in for pure curiosity, not searching for anything. Just pure curiosity to see what happens.
So what's crazy that you say that is I was listening to a guy who was talking about it, and he said for 1,000 subscriber special, he would make, excuse me, a Devil's Toy Box and go sit in it for as long as possible.
I'm on board.
And I'm gonna find. Go ahead.
We get 1,000 followers or whatever, from any platform, anything, 1,000 of any form. I will construct one, and I will go in and I will live stream it.
You heard it here first, folks. So, by the way, I'm glad he said that. Am I chopping up, Josh? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So, we need you guys to hit that like button and hit the share button as well. And please become a follower of Unopened Files. We're not done. I'm just saying, hey, here's our plug, because we want to do more of this. And don't forget to hit that heart. Yeah, I mean,
best believe I will. You want me to bark, Sandy? I will do whatever you want me to.
And then she also says, no, loved ones are not coming into a mirror box. But yeah, no, I don't know if the urban legend spawned the movies or the movies spawned the urban legend.
I think it was, so there was a guy who wrote, it was, the movies were inspired by the writing.
Okay.
So
okay.
some guy literally wrote this out, like came up with this idea in his head, and then that cued the, the movies are actually more based on the actual ritual than it is the farm, the orchard.
So what is, for those who have not seen the movie, have you seen the movie, Josh?
No.
You have no idea what it's about then?
I know it's related to the Devil's Toy Box.
I tell you what, I'm going to look it up right now, and I will pull it up myself. Actually, I think there's quite a bit of story left over.
Yeah, we still got a little bit, quite a bit, actually.
Trying to think. Do you want to read this next part?
Yeah. All right. So picking up where we were talking, Aaron had tried to get someone to go to Farmer Graves with her. So Aaron's location was only a 3-hour drive from New Orleans. It's rumored that this place was about 3 to 4 or 5. I don't know the exact mileage, but it's outside of New Orleans. So she says, I asked my friend Jason and his girlfriend Gretchen to take the ride with me. This way, I wouldn't feel so weird about driving all the way to see an 18-year-old girl I didn't know. We rolled into town about 5 p.m. that Saturday and met up with Aaron at the McDonald's. I think that's funny because their town is so small. They have one McDonald's.
The McDonald's, yeah.
So it was 4 strangers driving into town to meet a teenage girl at the McDonald's. And that kind of put them in the mood to, I guess, go out and do this and not be as scared. So basically, they were talking about the girl that they had picked up, Gretchen. So thankfully, Gretchen was there to somewhat diffuse the situation, and she asked if Aaron had made something. She was pointing to Aaron's backpack, which was actually a stuffed doll that was recognized as a space princess from the cartoon Adventure Time. Most of the stuffing had been removed, and a purple pouch had been sewn in that
Lumpy
sealed.
space. Lumpy
Yeah.
space princess.
Pretty much. So basically, Gretchen asked if she could make one. Um, they came to some sort of deal where if they provided the supplies and they were going to do that. So long story short, these two became friends. They weren't as scared to keep going. And now this is on their way there. They're doing these things. So they're getting in the mood that they're not nearly as scared as they were before. Um, I mean, that part is kind of not relevant to what we're talking about, but you can go ahead.
Okay. And it goes on. It says, it was a little after 10 p.m. When they neared the end of the narrow dirt road that led to Farmer Graves' haunted orchard. We parked beside a tall wooden archway that designated the orchard's front entrance. I handed out flashlights from the small stash of them in my trunk, and then we started inside. The place looked about how I expected it to. A row of brightly colored plywood shacks lined the vacant field beside several rows of satsuma trees that had been covered in fake cobwebs and scary decorations. Each shack had a sign displaying the name of a different attraction. There was Horn Toss, which, judging by the illustration on its side, was a ring toss game where you tried to throw halos onto a demon's horns. Werewolf Bowling, which was anyone's guess and my personal favorite, The Exorcist, which was a mounted squirt gun game that had several wood cutouts of Linda Blair's face as its target. Cartoon water tanks were painted below each of the mounted squirt guns that were labeled holy water. This is crazy. The Devil's Toy Box was the last shack in the row. It was painted a bright fire engine red, and the door, which made up of one entire wall of the small structure, was padlocked shut. Someone had stacked a dozen or so rusted folding chairs against the side of the toy box. Erin grabbed one of the chairs and began to unfold it as she said, "Now we wait." "How long?" Gretchen asked. "It varies, but hopefully not forever." Erin mentioned at the thick patch of wilderness to our left. Sorry. Erin motioned at, I was like, I read that. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Erin motioned at the thick patch of wilderness to our left, and I turned to see a window glowing out there in the distant darkness. "See it? That's the Sawyer house. They must know we're here." "And that's a good thing?" Gretchen's tone was tense, and she had a look on her face that said she'd realized how much she didn't want to be doing any of this. Before Erin or I could answer, she turned to Jason and asked, "Baby, will you walk me back to the car?"
Jason gave her an irritated look and said, "What? Why?" "Because all of this has just got too real. You knew we were coming out here to do this. I explained to you in vivid detail." "Jason, please." "No, it's bullcrap, Gretch. You do this every time." "I know. This is the freaking Avengers sneak preview all over again. I miss everything cool." This guy was mad. I would be mad. Missing out on the Avengers? Sheesh.
She.
She says, "I'm sorry," as she batted her eyes and gave Jason an adorable frown Gretchen had honed over many years of getting her way. Jason let out an exasperated sigh and handed him the keys to the car. "I'll be right back," Jason muttered. I pulled out a chair and took a seat next to Aaron as we watched the beams from Jason and Gretchen's flashlights shrink off into the distance. A thought came to me just then. As if this didn't already resemble an episode of Scooby-Doo. Now we're just splitting up? That's just asking for it. As soon as the words crossed my mind, we heard the crunch of an approaching footsteps. Aaron and I stood in unison and exchanged a panicked glance before turning to face the forest bordering the orchard. A middle-aged man with long, scraggly hair emerged out of the darkness and into the range of our flashlights. He was holding an electric lantern and wearing an open bathrobe over a dirty white undershirt and sweatpants.
Ugh.
If that doesn't scream Louisiana, I don't know what does. That is
So,
nuts.
let's see here. Josh, I don't know if we have enough time to read all this, man.
Yeah, it's pretty. Let's shoot for it. Let's go for it. Let's
Okay.
just go.
Will Sawyer was basically Vincent Price if he had starred in The Big Lebowski. He smiled and gave a thumbs up as he said, "You here for the box?" Sort of, responded. Aaron responded, and Will gave her a look like he had no idea what that could possibly mean. Have you seen this guy? I held up the photo of, or have you seen this guy? I held up the photo of Troy that Aaron had texted to my phone as Will started to approach us. He squinted at the picture. Maybe, he said. When was that? A few weeks ago. He was the one that went in the box. Most won't go inside anymore. Lasted almost 3 minutes. Then he ran off screaming. Aaron let out a sharp gasp. Ran off? Ran off where? Will pointed a thumb back at the dark patch of wilderness behind him and replied, "Into the freaking woods. Where do you think?" I opened the door and he came shooting out. He's naked from the waist down. Had his boxers on his head and his pants wrapped around his neck like a scarf. It was honestly pretty funny. Aaron covered her mouth. I'm sorry. That's hilarious. Even talking about the situation. Aaron covered her mouth with her hand, and as her eyes began to well with tears, Will grinned and said, "You want to see the inside?" "We aren't here for the box," I said, stepping in front of Aaron and glaring at Will. "But it's so breathtaking," the man said as he gestured toward the toy box's wide door, which slowly swung open. The interior was shrouded in darkness, but I could still see something vaguely human-shaped moving around inside the box. Yeah, forget that. So before we continue on, we gotta get to these comments. Jameed is popping in. Thank you so much for coming on, bro. He said he's seen the movie Hellraiser. And then Sandy says, "Y'all know I have not watched that movie because she has not seen many movies, but that's okay." And Jameed's responding, "Of course you haven't." Jaime saying this is a great show to follow up E.T. And Jameed saying, "Who has had a Satsuma, an evil sounding tangerine?" I have not. I didn't know they existed. Did you know they existed, Josh?
No. Sounds like an anime.
Pretty much. Jaime says the first time hearing of this. And do you want to do the rest?
Yeah. So, talking about the comments?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. I know you ain't talking to me like that, Jason. Uh-oh. Yeah. So, sounds like Aaron... I think Aaron was... She probably had some motive she didn't want to tell anybody. I think she's me. She wanted to see it for herself. But I guess she'll come to regret that.
Yeah, we're about to find out. We're going to continue with the story.
Run. I grabbed Aaron by the arm and pulled her along with me as I sprinted away from the toy box. I could hear something chasing us, as if we ran back toward the orchard's entrance, and I say something because it certainly didn't sound like a person. What I heard weren't footsteps, but rather one long, scraping sound, accompanied by a wet breathing that reminded me of a panting dog.
Oof.
Thankfully, Jason heard me screaming just as he and Gretchen reached my car. They turned to spot me and Aaron running towards with identical expressions of pants-crapping terror. Jason must have caught a glimpse of that thing chasing after us too, because his own face went pale. He quickly unlocked my door and threw himself behind the wheel, screaming for Gretchen to get in. She hurried into the passenger seat, and the moment she buckled her seatbelt, he started the engine and accelerated towards us, closing the gap in a matter of moments. Jason slammed on the brakes as he neared, and the car screeched to a halt inches away from us. I went to open the back passenger door, but it was locked. So was Aaron's side. I banged my fist on the window and pointed down at the locking mechanism. Jason muttered, "Oh crap." He turned and scanned the door controls on the driver's side, looking for the master switch. The scraping sound was growing closer, but I refused to look back and banged on the window once more. A frustrated Jason finally leaned into the back seat and unlocked the door manually. But by then, it already had me.
I can remember something dragging me back through the woods. I wasn't aware of much else beyond the vague impression that I had been stung by an insect with some kind of paralytic venom. All right. I felt a rush of air hit my face as the door swung shut in front of me. Then the lights came on and I realized where I was. Inside the Devil's Toy Box. The room's construction was actually pretty impressive. The floor was a thick sheet of transparent plexiglass. I layered over a mirror identical to the ones that made up the ceiling and walls. With the door shut, the mirror on its other side was just as seamless as the rest. Thin, fluorescent bulbs ran between the crevices where each mirror met the next, washing the room and its endless reflections in a pale yellow light. I made the mistake of looking down at the chasm of reflections below me and almost fainted. I shut my eyes and held out my hands, feeling for the nearest wall. I leaned against it while trying to force my head to stop spinning. Someone was whispering my name. Joel. I opened my eyes to see my reflection smiling at me as it said, "You're his now." I let out a startled scream and backed away from the mirror I was leaning against. Something was moving around behind my reflection. It was hard to see what it was at first, but something was climbing up through the corridor of my reflections, making its way towards me. As it got closer, I saw that the something was me. Well, not exactly. His features were too blurred, as if this reflection of me had been so far back that its face had been reduced to a distorted mess. That was the Joel that was coming for me.
It began to bang on the entrance wall, which felt padlocked into place. I let out a frustrated scream and finally turned to the face thing coming for me, only to find that my reflections had returned to normal. There was no longer a blurry me in the mirror. I let out a reflexive sigh of relief. A beat later, it emerged from the mirror beneath me and grabbed onto my legs. I woke up screaming and Aaron shot me a panicked look. We were still seated outside of the toy box. Sorry, I must have nodded off, I said. Erin opened her mouth. She hesitated before replying. I'm worried about your friends. I rubbed my eyes. Why? How long have they been gone? A while, almost 30 minutes. I pulled out my phone to check the time, confirming what Erin had said, and I sighed. Guess we should go back and check on them. As I and Aaron started the path back towards the entrance to the orchard, I nodded in the direction of the Sawyer house. You think he's going to show? I asked. Aaron thought about it for a minute and nodded. I hope so. If not, I don't know what we'll do.
I glanced at her, worried that Erin was about to start crying, but the look on her face was one of stoic acceptance, just as I realized that I was staring at her. Erin looked up at me and we exchanged a moment of awkward eye contact. I smiled to try and play it off as I quickly faced forward. It was then I realized that we had lost our way in the dark and had somehow ended up in the dense patch of woods that bordered the orchard. What the heck? I scanned the surrounding wilderness with my flashlight, trying to get my bearings, but I couldn't locate the orchard or any of its accompanying structures in the darkness. Then, after a bit of what I thought had been backtracking, we found ourselves at the front steps of the Sawyer house. It was rustic. It was a rustic white 2-story, 3 if you counted its 6-foot elevated floodproof foundation, similar to the lot of homes in that area. The space beneath the porch was unlit and pitch black. Yet staring into it, I could have sworn I saw movement under there as Erin gestured at the house. Guess we might as well say hi, she said. Erin started up the front stairs before I could even begin to mention the many ways in which that might be a bad idea, and without hesitation, she knocked on the front door. Crap, I muttered to myself and hurried up the stairs to stand beside her. There was a tense beat of silence, and then from inside came the sound of footsteps across hardwood floor. The door was suddenly yanked open, and a middle-aged woman with gray streaked hair and the brightest blue eyes I had ever seen was standing there glaring at us. This must have been Darlene.
You here for the box? She said, giving both us a curious scan. I experienced a moment of intense deja vu as Aaron replied, sort of. Darlene leaned outside and glanced around. You better come in. Aaron and I exchanged a cautious look as the woman turned and started back inside, leaving the front door open behind her. Aaron responded with a shrug that said, screw it, and then entered the house. As I followed her in and shut the door, I heard something rustling in the bushes outside. Lock it, please. There's all types of stuff in these woods, Darlene said. The rustling sound grew louder as I turned the deadbolt, and it slid home with an ominous thunk. We followed Darlene into the den that reeked of marijuana as she dressed it
Hush.
to a half-smoked blunt burning by the way in the ashtray. Help yourself, she said, gesturing towards the blunt. She took a
What?
seat on.
Yeah, right.
What a nice person. She took a seat. She took a seat on the sofa and muted the large screen TV mounted to the wall in front of her. Now, how can I help you? I cleared my throat and replied, we were told to expect Will Sawyer. Is he coming? He killed himself last night, so probably not. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I said. Yeah. So how can I help you?
What the freaking heck? So hold on. So really quick, so they left, and is Aaron left it. I'm so confused on what's happening right now. So they left because it was really weird and she got trapped in the toy box, and then they came back.
She was dreaming. She thought she was, so she nodded off and she thought she was in the toy box.
I missed that bit. Gotcha.
Then they went looking for Gretchen and her boyfriend.
Well, to continue on, I held up my phone and showed her Troy's picture. We were wondering if you remember seeing this guy out at the orchard recently, I said. Darlene examined the photo. Not that I recall, but I never went out there much after the incident with the toy box. It's my fault that godforsaken room got built in the first place. And every time I see the thing, I want to cry, she said. Erin tilted her head, her tone curious when she asked, it was your idea to build the devil's toy box? Darlene slowly shook her head. No, I was sick, like really sick. And that demon, or whatever Willie summoned, told him he would make me better if we built a room of mirrors and got people to go inside it. If your friend went in there, I can tell you one of three things. One of three things happened. He's either dead, catatonic in a hospital, or out in the woods. The ones that end up in there. The ones that end up out there, something happens to them, like when a pig gets loose and grows tusks. But if it'll help, you're welcome to look for him. Here. Here is in your house? Aaron asked. Yeah, Darlene stood. Slid her coffee. Excuse me. Yeah, Darlene stood, slid her coffee table out of the way, and pulled the rug aside to reveal a crude hatch cut into the hardwood floor. Will brought a few of the ones that went in back home. I think he felt sorry for them. Anyway, he kept them down here. The woman pulled open the trap door, and I was hit with a stench that was so potent, I don't know how we didn't notice it when we were outside. It was the smell of human filth en masse. Darlene nodded at me. You got a flashlight? I returned the nod and handed it to her. She switched on the light and aimed it down at the open hatch, revealing the upturned faces of 4 naked, emaciated men. Any of them look familiar? One of the men hissed at us. There was more rustling sounds from outside, and something began to scratch the living room window. Darlene glanced at the window as she said, "You got them riled up tonight. How long were you two out there?" Before I could respond, a filthy hand with impossibly long fingers reached up and yanked me down through the trapdoor. I woke up screaming. I was sitting outside of the toy box, and Jason was seated beside me. He gave me a sideways look and said, "You okay?"
Yeah, bad dream. Sorry. I was still reeling from my nightmare within a nightmare as I glanced around. Something felt off. Where are the girls? What girls? Jason said. The girls. One of them being your girlfriend, Gretchen? Dude, Gretchen broke up with me like a month ago, remember? Or is this something you're doing for your story? My what? The story you're going to write about this? You're fudging the details, which you probably should. You're going to make up some fake reason why we're out here too? Some damsel in distress who needs you to investigate a derelict Halloween attraction? It's definitely a lot better than saying your depressed friend asked you to drive 3 hours to see some rundown shack in the middle of the night where nothing whatsoever happened and then your friend shot himself. What? Jason slid the barrel of a handgun into his mouth and pulled the trigger. I was sitting close enough that the shot rendered me temporarily deaf. I stood and slowly backed away, my gaze fixed on the crater of blood and viscera that had been my friend's head mere moments ago. My own head ringing like a church bell from the large caliber handgun going off next to it. Still, I couldn't look away. Finally, I forced myself to turn and watch where I was going so that I could hurry and get the heck out of there. As I started toward the entrance, I glanced back once more to give my dead friend a final parting glance and halted when I saw that he wasn't there. Jason's blood and brains were still splattered across the front of the toy box, so I assumed that meant I had imagined the whole thing, but the folding chair where he had been sitting was now void of his slumped, lifeless body. As I stood there, trying to figure out where Jason's corpse could have gone, a stream of stagnant smelling water splattered against the side of my face.
So, fair warning, folks, we're almost done. I promise.
We
I
started a
turned,
little late, anyways.
yeah, I turned to see Jason's mostly headless body draped over one of the Exorcist game's mounted water guns. I'm not exactly proud to admit this, but I froze when I saw him, thinking that Jason had gone full on undead zombie. Though, after almost a minute of me standing there waiting for him to make the next move, I finally realized that wasn't going to happen. What I was seeing was nothing more than a dead body lying on a mounted water gun, which meant that someone or something was out there in the darkness, moving around a 160-pound corpse and propping it up on sorry, moving around a 160-pound corpse and propping it up to just mess with me. This was the realization that finally sent me running. I was in my 91 Jeep Cherokee and halfway down the unpaved dirt road back to the highway when the Cherokee hit a bump that dislodged something from its undercarriage. I pulled over and started to get out so I could take a look on what it had been, and that's when I realized I was once again looking at Jason's mangled body. Moving a grown man's corpse is one thing, but moving it and then wedging it up into a car's undercarriage and the time it took me to get back to my Jeep, that's crazy talk. I really don't like to give this part much thought because the truth of it's kind of depressing. Real life Jason had been really depressed about the breakup with Gretchen, and I guess I should have seen it coming, but I didn't.
And so when I went back home and started to write it all down, just as Jason knew I would, I got about this far when I was interrupted by a knock on the door to my apartment. I opened the door and saw there was a note taped to the outside. There's a package for you in the lobby. It was about 11 p.m., and I was pretty sure the management at my complex had long since gone home for the evening, but I headed toward the lobby anyway out of sheer curiosity. I started down the steps leading to the first floor of my complex to see Jason's mutilated body leaning against a Coke machine at the bottom of the stairwell. Somehow, they had found me. I vaulted back upstairs, seeing everything in slow motion as I sprinted to my apartment and locked the door. A moment later, the knob began to rattle as someone tried to open it from the outside. I slowly backing away from the door when something big crashed through it. Though it was no longer my front door, but rather the inside of the toy box that subtly buckled inward to reveal a familiar set of headlights. Jason had crashed my Cherokee into the side of the toy box.
I spent 25 seconds inside the Devil's Toy Box. That's how long it took for Jason to run my car into it. Thankfully, the Cherokee was still drivable afterward, and we promptly got the heck out of there. I dropped Erin off at her house with an apology explaining that there was nothing else I could have done. Honestly, I don't know what she expected from me. This isn't supernatural. If your boyfriend is missing, you call the cops. I'm going home. Do I feel bad that I couldn't help her? Sure. But for what it's worth, we disabled the toy box and probably saved countless generations of dumb kids from making the same mistakes as Aaron's boyfriend. The bad news is that doing so has almost certainly scarred me for life. Even as I sit here days later, writing this all down for the second time, I'm still worried that it's not over. I'm worried that when I wake up tomorrow, it's going to be in front of that freaking box.
Dude, this story is some Inception type stuff. Just when you think it's real, it changes. It's just nuts. It's just nuts.
We finally got through the story. I didn't realize how long it was going to take to read, but I'm having a hard time believing this. I'm pretty sure it's made up. What do you think, Josh?
Not at all. Not at 100% factual.
I'm pretty sure it's made up.
I'd say there's some validity issues within it, but nonetheless, it's still a good read.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sandy. So basically, what happened is these group of kids went to go find someone's missing boyfriend. They went to the Devil's Toy Box area. One of them got inside the Devil's Toy Box. And so basically she was having, like Josh was saying, Inception moments because she had a dream within a dream within a dream. And they broke her out with just busting it up with the car, and then they drove away. So,
and she had only been in 25 seconds.
So regardless, it was an amazing story to read. It was really cool and interesting. And I'm like, man, this is like, it is actually pretty in detail. And the fact that they kept going back and forth with the crazy moments, like,
Yeah.
I mean, because I was thrown for a loop. I'm like, what is happening? I don't exactly have to understand what's going on.
I guess it helps that I've read it a lot of times, but it makes sense. She kept going back to the box, and each time she kept going to the box, something crazier happened. And then after that crazy bit happened, she would go back to the box. So it kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger because it makes you think, is she still in the box? Did Jason actually crash through it with the car? Jaime's onto it.
Jaime said she's still in the box. Plot twist.
That's the whole point of this box. That's why in the ritual it said not to believe anything, because supposedly whenever you go in, something comes out with you, and it can change your way of speaking. It can change your way of thought. It can make you say no when you mean yes.
So, and there's another story I won't necessarily be getting into that something similar like this happens. And the guy goes in, he sees something on the other side, and basically earlier they had been dealing with a lot of like dabbling with the occult, getting into Ouija boards and stuff, and they've been doing this, and so they find out that there's this entity that they contacted, and it has three digits for a name, 3 numbers or letters, excuse me,
RGM.
Well, he already knows. So anyway, so and then he goes into this box, and you know he's asking it for the name, and it's RGM, but he's asking it, and so excuse me, I don't know where these yawns are coming from. It's like my energy's getting sapped away. Anyway, so basically, the entity says, "You gave me a name. Do you realize what you've done? You give me power. You're not going to go anywhere, and you're never escaping, even if you escape this box." And that was very summarized, but that's what happened. And so basically he gets out, like he's pounding to get out of the box, and no one hears him, and hey man, time's up, let's get out. And so they unhatch the top, and he gets out of there, And they've created their own Devil's Toy Box. This isn't the Northern Louisiana situation. And so he has a hard time telling them what happened because he is basically being persuaded by whatever entity he contacted. Um, so yeah, he I'm trying to think of what he does, Josh. He almost kills them basically because he's trying to.
Yeah. So it comes out when he comes out, it's attached to him. He has urges. So his friends are asking, "Well, what happened? Did you feel anything? Did you see anything?" He wants to say yes, but the entity is saying no. It won't let him say yes. He starts to get urges to kill his friends. He ends up leaving, and days go by, and occasionally it will come back, and he sees it in a mirror. Supposedly, mirrors are really, the get go with these things.
I guess.
So he sees himself in the mirror. So he can see not only his face, but the entity is attached to his face as well. So
Because every time he looks in the mirror, he sees the entity.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's there. And I think he ends up running to a synagogue.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I got to get out of here. Like, it's been forever. And since I've been to the synagogue, and I got to go. So he runs and he actually prays with one of the, I guess, rabbis there.
Yeah.
And it was actually a friend of his. And so he ends up like, down the road, it still messes with him and stuff. And I don't know if this is based on a true story or if it's just another made up one, but that's the thing. Guys, I don't know if you guys have taken away anything from what we've talked about. Josh here is obviously trying to do it. So if we get 1,000 views on this, Josh will make his own, apparently.
I'll live stream it.
He'll live stream it. I will not be there. I will be supporting him via FaceTime. But yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed what we talked about. I know there was a lot of storytelling. But what do you guys think about the Devil's Toy Box? Hit us up in the comments. We kind of want to see what you guys' thoughts are. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, you know my position. I'm first in line to go in. If I find one, I'm going in. No hesitation. And I don't even have to have a camera. I'm going in. Okay. And if something comes out with me, I'll try to keep it away from you. No promises.
Try? See,
yeah, I'll try.
There's, I know from this famous old little green guy, do or do not. There is no try. So you're trying and then you fail. And then I will be there and you'll try to kill me. And so that's when I run away. Never to see you again because I'm peacing out.
It's okay.
I don't know, but I think for a first episode, I enjoyed myself. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves too. Josh, what do you think about our first run at this?
I mean, for it being our first and for it being my first, full me and you show, I think we did good, man.
I think we did pretty good.
It's only going to go uphill from here. This one was kind of more of a paranormal, not actual story stuff. Well, okay, hold on. It was actual story stuff, not actual,
factual,
non-fiction, factual things that we could talk about. Now,
nonetheless,
next episode, we can give a little tidbits. That is real. That happened. Okay. If anybody's heard of the Black Dahlia. So that's next episode. But we'll see.
We will see. And that will actually be, it's actually one of my favorite mysteries. And so you guys will have to tune in next week at Tuesday at 9:30. I guess 8:30 CST. Yes, 8:30 CST, 9:30 EST to check us out. But we are Unopened Files, not the Unopened Files. Josh, do you have any final words to our audience?
No, I just, thanks everybody for listening. This was done on a whim. We did this pretty fast. Can't even begin to explain how much work has went into it, and it's going to continue to come. It's only going to get uphill from here. The stories are going to get better. So stick around.
Yes, and really quick, guys, Josh busted his butt to get our intro and outro situated, and it is StreamYard's really been kicking us for it. I don't know what's going on. The quality comes up perfect on our end, but when we upload it to StreamYard, it doesn't look as great. But all that aside, we really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jaime, Joe, Alexandra, Sandy, Jameed, and if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But with a close, stay safe, stay healthy.
Keep opening those files.
See you guys.